Word coming into Fox News late this evening from White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. The president is in fact supporting efforts by Senator John Cornyn and others to strengthen background checks on gun buyers. Sanders saying, quote, "The president spoke to Senator Cornyn on Friday about the bipartisan bill he and Senator Murphy introduced to improve federal compliance with criminal background check legislation. While discussions are ongoing and revisions are being considered, the president is supportive of efforts to improve the federal background check system." We'll talk about this and more tonight with a great panel. Kennedy, Ann Coulter, Amanda Head and Richard Fowler, all with us. Plus, we'll debate immigration and the president's infrastructure plan. And with chaos in the financial markets, Swamp Watch takes on Wall Street corruption and how the financial elite seem to get richer whatever happens to the real economy. But first, I remember from my days working in government that every time something bad happens, the cry goes up, we must do something. Strong action, new laws, more resources. It's always more resources. In particular, you hear all this from inside government. Dogs bark, cats meow, bureaucrats want more power and money. It happens every time there's a terror attack. The bureaucracy demands more powers. But you know what else we hear every time there's a terror attack? The attacker was known to the authorities. The Fort Hood attacker was known to the FBI. The Pulse nightclub attacker had been investigated by the FBI. The FBI had been given a specific tip about the Boston bombers from the Russians of all people. And yet so many died. Which brings us to the horror of last week. Inevitably, it revived our seemingly endless gun debate, and we'll get to that. But let's start with the words of the Broward County Public Defender, Howard Finkelstein. This kid exhibited every single known red flag, from killing animals to having a cache of weapons to disruptive behavior to saying he wanted to be a school shooter. If this isn't a person who should have gotten someone's attention, I don't know who is. This was a multi-system failure. Now listen to the words of the FBI about the specific warning it received on January the 5th this year about the murderous intentions of the Parkland killer. Quote, "The caller provided information about Cruz's gun ownership, desire to kill people, erratic behavior, and disturbing social media posts, as well as the potential of him conducting a school shooting." And then, the pathetic response from FBI Special Agent Robert Lasky that he and his colleagues truly regret any additional pain this has caused. Regret? Is that the best they can do? 17 people are dead because of the FBI's bungling. FBI, Federal Bureau of Incompetence. You know what? Can we just agree that before we demand new laws and powers and resources, we insist that our government does its job with the laws and powers and resources that it has? A few more thoughts on our national gun debate after Parkland. We hear tonight that the White House is looking at measures to improve background checks. Good. Surely everyone agrees that this messed up kid should never, ever have been allowed to buy that gun. But here's another point that's been lost. He should never have been allowed to get so messed up in the first place. I was on special report this week as the news of the shooting was coming in. I know some of you saw me, and I want to repeat what I said then. Let's not comfort ourselves with glib and superficial so-called solutions, whether that's gun control or this talk of mental health. This is not a medical issue. The truth is that we have a social crisis in America, just like in most so-called civilized societies these days. There's been a social breakdown going on for decades, and at the heart of it is family breakdown. More and more children being raised in broken homes and a toxic culture of violence. Healing our broken society is, in my view, the #1 priority for America, and we will come back to that again and again on this show, I promise, because that is truly the next revolution we need. Please tell me what you think. Follow us on Twitter and have your say at Steve Hilton X and at NextRevFNC.